Hello and welcome to HBM's Cryptid-Corner for Wednesday, May 10th, 2023. We have a few things to talk about, so let's get started. First of all, I'm not going to read entire articles like I have been doing, because that just takes too long. I may read a few highlights of an article, but that's about it. Here's one from Chile. A 1908 chupacabras case. Apparently, there was a legend of something called the Vampires of Chinaro Alto from 1908, a small community located in the heart of Cambar, Bahia, Chile's fourth region. On March 9, 1908, 20 goats were found slain in bizarre circumstances. They apparently had been drained of their blood. There was a similar attack 2 days later at another ranch, but bovines and horses were killed in identically strange circumstances. And then apparently an individual, a prospector, was killed by this creature as well, found drained of blood, bearing 2 puncture marks. So is this story true or is it just a legend? That's an excellent question, and who knows? But sometimes legends have a basis in fact. So is this true? That's a good question. Apparently, a Bigfoot researcher wants answers from government about newly uncovered documents. It's not clear why she needed an FOIA, that's Freedom of Information Act, for some of these. In this video, a Bigfoot researcher shares the result of what she claims was the Freedom of Information Act request for information pertaining to Bigfoot and Sasquatch. When you look at what she's discussing, is it really all that revelatory?
And friends. In this video, I'm going to discuss this official state seal discovered under the Freedom of Information Act that has, yes, you're seeing that correctly, a Bigfoot on it. I'm also going to address the question of why so many of these documents are not shared with the public and why I believe Sasquatch are classified. Kind of like those UFO videos that the Pentagon released a few years ago. Remember those? They were previously classified. So yes, it turns out sometimes the government does actually tell us the truth. But when will they tell us what they know about Bigfoot? Now, many people have been asking me about these FOIA documents from Washington State that we got from Fish and Wildlife. And I'll show screenshots of the documents throughout this video, but truth be told, it's not much. They told us they had thousands of documents, and then they sent us 35. I don't know what that was about. Lastly, I'm going to go over the only official mention of Sasquatch on a Forest Service website and how it's recently and oddly been changed. It may even low-key be the first time they've ever recognized Bigfoot. And since attempts to officiate the species are often shut down in the Senate, I'd say this is a pretty big deal to have a major government agency sneakily change their stance on Sasquatch. So listen up, because I don't think many people know this yet. Okay, first question. What is this seal? Why is it hidden from the public? So here's the seal that Fish and Wildlife currently uses, but honestly, if you ask me, it looks pretty dated. Maybe this is a new updated seal that hasn't been approved for a press release yet. Maybe they're waiting for more funding or more data. I don't know. Either way, we had to legally request for it, so it must mean something. Now, just when you thought it'd be silly for a government agency to actually put Bigfoot on their seal, think again, because that's exactly what the Air National Guard has done. Now, if Bigfoot was just some made-up mythical monster, then why on earth would one of the most serious and crucial agencies in the world be using it as their logo? I mean, this isn't a coffee shop or a gift store. This is the Air National Guard. Now, this is the part where it gets really confusing and weird. So, this is the Forest Service website that's been recently changed. And they thought we wouldn't notice. Okay, so the original article is on the left, and the article currently used on the website is on the right. Feel free to pause and try to find the differences yourself. But basically, the original article reads like, a real article about Sasquatch, as if they're very real and their habitat's in danger. So, it's important to protect their lands and whatnot. But then you get to the bottom and it says April Fools. So when I saw that years ago, I was like, why would they even do that? And then I went back recently and looked at it again, and I just couldn't believe it when I saw that they changed it. Y'all, they removed the part that says April Fools. And then they added very real details about things that Sasquatch actually do. Why would they do that? The article was written so many years ago, so why change it now? So, of course, I dug deeper into that article and the author that wrote it. Now, I don't know how much I should say or share because the author that wrote it does PR for pretty much every single government agency on Earth. So I have to be careful what I say, and like I said, I keep getting banned. So take a look at the original article, look at the edited article, and decide for yourself, why do you think they made the changes? Now, the last thing I will say is that I found it very ironic and a major coincidence that when I was looking through the only few laws that we have regarding Sasquatch, actual laws that were passed, in one of them in the documents, it says, this is not an April Fool's Day joke. So I found that really ironic that April Fool's Day part was removed, maybe because it's in the law itself that says this is not an April Fool's Day joke. I don't know. But what I do know is that the laws being passed regarding Sasquatch are not a joke. They're very real. In fact, in the time it took me to edit this video, another one was just passed. So this is really just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to all of my research, years of research. And I want to present some thoughts and ideas that really aren't out there. So please stay tuned. I have so much more coming, and thanks for bearing with me for how long it takes me to upload videos. I honestly am out in the field a lot. I'm doing a lot of research out in the woods, and we don't get service. I try to go live as often as I can, so thank you for those of you who join me live when I am live. And just stay tuned. There's a lot more to this, and I want to chip away at this with you guys. So thanks for all your support, and stay safe out there, footers.
Apparently, her first piece of evidence is an image of a badge or seal of some sort from the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife, which shows a sketch of a Bigfoot alongside some other flora and fauna. We were unable to find a source for this badge, let's say badge or seal. It's possible it's nothing more than a novelty, or even an inside joke as from someone in the department. Even if it is something that the department briefly put forth, doesn't make it an admission of Bigfoot's existence. No more than the fact that the Western Air Defense Sector and Washington National Guard chose Bigfoot as their mascot and put it on their seal, a fact she also finds very suspicious. I think she was also showing some of the documents about the Skamania County law. I think she was showing some of those also. So, is this a genuine seal or is it some sort of prank? What is it? Who knows? Now, I don't think the government is going to be very forthcoming with the answers. I mean, we can try all we want to request FOIAs, but I'm not sure we're going to get very much of anywhere. It's just a mystery, I guess. Man breaks down why the interdimensional Bigfoot theory doesn't really work. Now, everybody means the same thing by Bigfoot. Two kinds of Bigfoot theorists in the world: those who think there is an undiscovered hominid species that is much taller and hairier than humans, and those who use the word Bigfoot but really mean a hypothetical race of interdimensional alien beings that sound less and less like the general definition of the word and more like a political cult.
Every once in a while, I will get a comment on one of my cryptozoology videos saying something like, well, I believe that Bigfoot is real, but I think that it's an interdimensional being. And I find these comments interesting because it's very clear that the people making them are trying to reconcile their belief in Bigfoot, or any other cryptid for that matter, with the fact that we just can't find the damn thing. And this is textbook special pleading, where basically you move the goalposts so that there's a reason why your, in this case, unknown animal doesn't follow any biological rules, because, well, it's not biological at all. But just think about the number of assumptions that you are making when you say Bigfoot is a being from another dimension. If that's true, then that means that alternate dimensions, which are a completely hypothetical concept that we've never detected any evidence for, are real. It means that there are beings or entities of some kind living in that alternate dimension. It means that those beings have the ability to cross over into our dimension, and for some reason, when they're here, they take the form of giant apes. It sounds completely ridiculous when you lay it all out, because it is, but some believers cling to this idea because it's the only way they can reconcile the fact that we haven't found these things with their belief that the eyewitness accounts are happening exactly as reported, even though we know eyewitness evidence is unreliable. They accept this completely outlandish hypothesis to maintain their belief in Bigfoot because they are convinced that there's no way anyone could be regularly mistaking known animals like bears for something like Bigfoot. Just some food for thought. Just some food for thought.
They seem like proposing Bigfoot creatures from another dimension is a way to reconcile belief in a cryptid that we can't prove to scientific standard, but that is often a generous interpretation for what could be more purposeful manipulation of language. As an example, let's say person A watched one of the recent interviews with Jane Goodall where she talks about indigenous tales that sound a lot like Bigfoot, and not just folklore, but stories from hunters in the remote isolated villages she visited who said they still saw these tailless monkeys taller than humans. That's one of the world's leading primatologists giving credence to the possibility that there could be a species we haven't discovered yet that survives in small and hidden communities away from people. Unlikely, perhaps, but not impossible. This is largely the same position that led to, and again we use the word loosely, the discovery of giant squid. Person B, on the other hand, listened to a podcast where people very seriously discussed Bigfoot as this entirely different concept that is more like interdimensional alien that is weirdly obsessed with American politics, considering they are from not only another planet but also another dimension that we also don't even know really exists. Both persons are using the word Bigfoot when discussing the concept, but neither are likely to define the word because we have an assumed belief that we all use words to mean the same thing. Anybody who's familiar with cults knows this isn't always the case. Hmm. Well, I think the video is pretty self-explanatory. Everybody means the same thing by Bigfoot, obviously. So, I personally do not believe that we are dealing with an interdimensional species. I think it's flesh and blood. But there are those who believe the opposite. Who's to say they're wrong? I try to be as open-minded as I can. Not so open-minded that my brain falls out. Apparently there was an alleged skunk ape sighting in Florida. Time to grab your cryptozoology camping gear. The southeastern region of the United States, they often call Bigfoot a skunk ape, so named for his ape-like appearance and pungent stench. Florida especially has been home to these legends of bipedal primates with shaggy hair that can sometimes be smelled before they are seen. And many believe the swampy terrain is as difficult for humans to navigate, maybe where at least one colony of Bigfoot creatures is hiding. The tropical wetland climate of the Everglades would certainly give a big, hairy animal a stench, as thick fur coats are usually adapted for colder regions. However, if Bigfoot is an intelligent species similar to modern humans, then it's likely capable of adapting to a wide variety of habitats in the same way humans do. Many believe this is likely simply due to legends of these almost but not quite humans being present all over the globe in the same way that the human population is everywhere. So, very interesting video. Is it a skunk ape? Or is it the guy in the suit? I don't know. I think this particular video has been around a while. I can't remember if it's one of Tim Fasano's videos or not. I don't think so, but it's interesting. Very interesting. I want to point to Bigfoot411.com, their evidence page. More particularly the section about the PG film, Patterson-Gimlin film. There's an essay also by Bill Munns. In other words, Bill Munns' work is profiled, so is Jeff Glickman and Dr. Jeff Meldrum. Here's an interesting sketch by Pete Travers comparing a human, a gorilla, and a Bigfoot. So you guys can check that out if you wish. I'm also going to include a link to the Munns report, the Patterson-Gimlin film by Bill Munns, about hoax considerations and why the film is not a hoax. I think you guys will find it interesting. They say Virginia is for lovers, but apparently it's also for Bigfoot. Apparently it's been spotted in Virginia 86 times going back to the 1970s, according to sightings reported to the BFRO, the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. Why it matters. We're just over a month away from the annual Virginia Bigfoot Conference, which takes place in June in Wyer's Cave, a little town midway between Staunton and Harrisonburg. Apparently, sightings appear to dominate the southwest part of the state. Per the BigfootResearch.org, BFRO. Closest sighting was to Richmond came in June 2006 near Wood Lake in Chesterfield County from a couple who reported a 7-foot-tall figure in the woods. Silvery white, tall, vertical, slender thing with what my wife called flowing hair. Most recent report was from November in Smith County from a hunter who thought he stumbled upon a bear when it stood and walked away on 2 legs. So that's obviously not a bear. Washington State leads the nation in Bigfoot sightings, followed by Oregon. That's kind of interesting. That's kind of a duh. According to the BFRO, Washington State is the top state. But I think that the environment in Virginia is capable of holding Bigfoot and harboring Bigfoot. Now here's an interesting controversy. Apparently AI, or artificial intelligence, apparently is being used, I think it's being used, to fake sightings, to fake reports. Unfortunately, the reporter on this story decides to call the individual a Bigfoot expert. What we need to do is explain to these people there are no Bigfoot experts. Bigfoot researcher blasts AI for almost daily hoaxes getting in the way of search. Bigfoot researcher Thomas Markham has said the elusive creatures community is struggling with hoaxes made up by artificial intelligence, an almost daily occurrence for those hunting down the legends. Now, this is obviously an illustration. This is not real. Bigfoot researcher has said imagery generated by AI, artificial intelligence bots, has sparked a huge rise in hoaxes in the elusive creatures community almost daily. Thomas Markham, long-serving founder of the Crypto Crew, has said AI imagery is muddying the waters of their search, but may have some upsides. Gosh, they keep calling him an expert. He's not an expert. There are no experts. Revealed it was very difficult now to verify images of elusive creatures like Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster. With artificial intelligence and other tools like Photoshop at the disposal of those hoping to make up a hoax. And I suppose it is pretty easy to create sightings now and create imagery of supposed Sasquatch. Apparently he is poo-pooing an image of Nessie, a supposed image of Nessie. He said, these new possible images of Nessie, unfortunately the subject is just too far away to glean any real details. Doesn't appear to be a Photoshop creation, but at this kind of distance it could be anything from a boat to a tree to the Loch Ness Monster. But Photoshop creations are a difficulty for other spots in the elusive creatures community. I certainly hope this doesn't become a problem, to be quite honest. AI hoax attempts are hitting the Bigfoot community almost daily. As AI gets better and better, it will become harder to spot the fakes, Thomas said. Well, I tell you what, I guess it is going to be pretty difficult to ascertain real images from AI. Hopefully, this won't give anybody any ideas, although I'm sure there'll be someone out there who will decide to pop up with an AI hoax. But I think that AI can also be beneficial with at least some things, anyway. And that's going to do it for this week. We want to thank you very much for tuning in. You guys are the heart of the show. I always say that, but I always mean it. And I will continue to do this as long as you guys want me to. And hey, until next week, y'all be good or be good at it. This is HBM's Crypto Corner.